every one of these parking spots is surrounded on two sides, actually three sides, by food production. So in most HOAs, they simply have lawns. A lawn is a liability on the balance sheet of an HOA. It's an expense. Why would we use our land so insanely? Well, the lawn is the foundation of our enslavement.
Thank you for watching Dro TV. We are here with my friend Jim Gale at Galt's Landing. This is an amazing place. Lots of solutions to the problems that people are facing today. I can't wait to take a walk around and see what you have going on here. How are you doing? Tell us a little bit about Galt's Landing.
Well, I've never been so inspired in my life. Galt's Landing is a demonstration site. In fact, we call it a Freedom Farm Academy. And our intention, my joyful obsession, is to demonstrate freedom on every level. Freedom starts in the heart with faith and courage, and then it goes to the mind, the stomach, and then how do we use our land? This community, named after John Galt, the fictional character from Atlas Shrugged, is about freedom from all of the tyranny that pervades our world today. And it starts right here at the front. Warning private property, no trespassing without the owner's express, verbal, or written authorization. And here's the good part. This includes any and all governmente agents. Governmente, govern is to manage, control, or steer, and mente is mind. Governmente, my friends, is the problem that our world faces today. The belief in authority is our most dangerous superstition. Thank you, Larkin Rose, for pointing that out so eloquently. Government subsidizes and centralizes all of the power systems because the people that want to control the world, they want to do so by rising up through the ranks of government, and they get together and they create their little backroom deals. Kissinger, back 50 years ago, he said, if you want to control people, control food. He said, if you want to control countries, control energy. If you want to control the world's currency. Well, we're taking that whole system and we're turning it upside down here. We've got all of our own food, water, and energy produced on this property. We don't need government for anything. We don't ask for permission from governmente. We don't pay slave taxes to governmente. We stand in service to our community. We help the community be free. We help the community grow food. When everybody eats poison-free food, then we take our health back as well. And by the way, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we fly under the civil peace flag. Right? We don't fly under the war flag. We are about peacefully demonstrating sedition, which is taking our energy away from the systems that enslave us. Let's take a walk. So what we're coming up on now is kind of a culmination of everything that I've learned over the years and that we've learned. We being anybody who's related to the movement of freedom and permaculture. Permaculture stands for permanent culture. It's an agricultural design science that was founded by Bill Mollison and David Holmgren, and many more people around the world have added incredible wisdom to the permaculture network. And within the science of permaculture is not the hypothetical solution to all the world's biggest problems. It's the demonstrable solution to all the world's biggest problems.
Right.
So that's what we're here to do. In fact, I'll show you a little bit about this design. You can see these parking spots here. Every one of these parking spots is surrounded on two sides, actually three sides, by food production. So in most HOAs, they simply have lawns. A lawn is a liability on the balance sheet of an HOA. It's an expense. Why would we use our land so insanely? Well, the lawn is the foundation of our enslavement. When Kissinger said, control food, control people, he wasn't just the ramblings of a madman. Like, who talks about controlling people anyway? A psychopath. This is the strategy spoken by the man who is in charge of, at least publicly, implementing the strategy of control. And throughout the history of warring civilizations, the first thing that warmongers do is they destroy the food supply chain for their enemies. When the governmente came into this place that we now call the United States of America, one of the first things they did was kill the buffalo to destroy one of the most important assets. And of course, the indigenous didn't think of buffalo as an asset. They thought of them as part of life. Well, they destroyed and killed millions of buffalo, and they cut down the fruit trees and the food producing plants all over the United States. Because again, the governmentes know that the best way to control people is by making the elements of life scarce. Scarcity is the nature of a government system. Abundance is the nature of God's system or nature's system. So every guild here, these are literally just in the ground 2 weeks. And every one of them is punctuated by different fruit trees. In this one area here, we've got probably 40 or 50 different fruit trees, which are each going to go up in value. Within 12 months, they're going to double in value just based on the size of the fruit tree. So if you're looking at this from a fiat perspective, fiat is going down in value. The money supply just increased by like 65% over the last 3 years, as the value of food is going up. So just from a logical, economical perspective, this is a no-brainer. What else will this accomplish? Well, the food supply chain has been destroyed, and it is, most people aren't aware of it yet. The food supply chain is in big, big trouble. So this actually supplements, and you become part of the food supply chain. Isn't that, it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Even the fence in the background, that fence, the whole thing, you can see vines starting to come up the fence. That whole fence is a food fence. Within 3 years, we'll be able to produce about 500 bottles of wine off that fence a year. Every fence in the world is a built-in trellis, and you should put vines at the base of it and use it to grow food. And not just grow food, but what do you think will look better? A living green fence with birds and butterflies and bees, or a chain link fence? You decide that one. You know, you can count the seeds in a single apple, but you cannot count the apples in a single seed.
Can you talk about anarchism? When I tell people I'm an anarchist, they get scared.
What I'm doing is incredibly self-serving. It just happens to also serve everybody else and serve nature. The more joy and love and service that we can express, the better it is for everybody else.
It's practicing abundance.
It's practicing abundance. It's demonstrating. It's living it. So we take the water out of the pond and we fertigate, which means to fertilize and irrigate all of the food forests, fruit trees, and all of the gardens around the pond. None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. Anarchy means no arc, no ruler, nobody above. This is anarchy. Living in peace with nature, stewardship of the land, service to humanity, service to our fellow humans, living a joyful life. That's anarchy. When I first heard that I was a slave, I said, no, I'm not. I can do anything I want, which is what many of you are saying right now. Really? Well, can you work and produce value and then keep the product of your labor? Or do you have to, by the threat of force and violence, give the product of your labor? Not give. They steal it from you. If you don't hand it over, then you have force and violence upon you. That, my friends, is slavery. I've got 4 daughters, and that's my primary motivation for this whole thing, is to help visualize and to help manifest a world that they will enjoy and they will love. And this is the answer to it all.